Welcome to the Starting Over Podcast. I am your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos, and this is a show where we look at the strategies, tactics, and mechanics behind the game of heroclix. It's been sort of an interesting couple of days. It's one of those, like, good gosh, my feet hurt sort of days. Last few days. Just a whole bunch of stuff going down. Rock season's picking back up again, and I'm still like, can I have a little bit more vacation time, please? Please. Oh, I won't. Okay. All right. So, that's just sort of how I feel right now. Played a couple of War of Lights, and did okay. Got the prizes and whatnot. I haven't really looked at them. That's real sad. Like, I got the prizes. Haven't looked at them. Haven't really cared too much. Really, as of yet. The only prize that it's like, meta-worthy game changing for me was Jon Stewart. To an extent, Guy Gardner, but I really wasn't looking at him too much. But, yeah. Anyway, if you hear any weird sounds in the background, I got Dragon's Dogma going. And I just haven't turned it off. So, that's it. Alright, today, we're going to go into a couple of different things. First, we're going to talk about the moralities and ethics of information and finding out information from those around you, and then we're going to start talking about bringing melee back. It's a topic matter that I feel that a lot of people just don't really look at anymore. Just mainly for a couple of reasons. The main in which is that melee requires skill and work. It really does. And I'm not talking about throw every figure in the middle, let's fight. Not that type of melee. So anyway, I'm going to talk about that to an extent. So all right, let's talk about this information thing. I got a good email from a person who will go unnamed for right now. He pretty much just says, like, hey man, I found out stuff about, the people I'm going to play against, teams. We have a big event coming up, and what do I do? Do I just be like, ha ha ha, I found out your information, and how do I play appropriately and ethically? And this is sort of a big deal. And I emailed the cat back, but I sort of thought this is worth sharing. Here's what I'd say. There's a difference between disclosure and overhearing. Okay? Now note, I am 100%, and I've said this in the past, I'm 100% against people showing up, looking around, seeing what everybody's built, and then building a counter team. I am not for that, okay? And that's why I encourage you all to get Tupperware and bags and hide your stuff until the last moment and then reveal your force, okay? So doing that forces people to actually, play you, okay? Unless you're talking with people and, you have your heroclix buddy, because you should have your heroclix buddy, because I've promoted this for how many years now, okay? Your heroclix buddy's main goal is there for you to have somebody that you promote, friendly competition with, but you also can exchange ideas. All right. So those are some key thoughts that I want to be flowing in your head as you're listening to this. See, this is why this is a big deal. Okay. So your heroclix buddy, you have what I call a non-aggression pact. A open information act with your buddy. Okay? Your buddy divulges information to you so that you both can get better. You divulge information to them as well. Okay, so usually you try to have these conversations, maybe to the side of the venue, preferably while some other rounds are are still going down. You're pulling them out to the side because you're both done and you're just talking about the game and whatnot. Okay. All right. You're not in this, super public area. Okay. If you're just hearing other people like, yeah, next week, man, I'm going to be bringing that Super Scroll. I'm going to be bringing that Iron Man. I'm going to be bringing, that Proxima Midnight, that Alita, that blah, blah, blah. That's on them. Okay. Because they were stupid. Okay. If they are serious, you have to take it in one of two ways. And this is you sort of keeping, tabs of people on your venue. If so-and-so goes and blurts out what they're going to play and then plays something else, this is purposeful false information. But if so-and-so brags about what they're going to play and then plays it, that's on them because they're stupid. Okay? If you haven't been paying attention to that, just sort of be observant and do what you're going to do anyway. Okay? So that's a big key. I'll be honest with you. I can't count how many times someone has said, "Oh, blah blah blah, I'm going to play this and I'm going to stomp Edward next week and it's going to be over." And this is them speaking out the moment, and this is them getting mad because I beat them. Okay? And I'll say, "Okay, cool, you do that." Okay, now in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, they're probably going to play this piece. The chances of them playing this piece is probably about 30 to 50%. Okay, at 30 to 50%, you just need to know what I call a check, and I think I've mentioned this before. You don't need to say like, blah, 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 I'm going to counter their stupid piece because they said it out loud. All you have to do is say, like, okay, if they bring that, I have ways of dealing with it. I don't need to hard counter it. Okay. So the what you have to move towards, you have to say is like, okay, if I'm talking to my heroclix buddy and we're talking about what we're going to build for next week and things that we're going to try, I keep that in mind in my build, but I don't go in a douchebag route and be like, bam, I'm just countering his team. That causes problems. You lose a friend. Okay. Then, on the other hand, if you have folks just acting stupid and just saying, no, next week I'm going to do this, and I'm thinking about that, and I'm going to do so-and-so, then yeah, just sort of keep it in the back of your head, build your team, don't build a bunch of hard counters to it, just sort of say like, yeah, this is probably going to be dumb, I need to, adjust my team as such. Okay, and then that allows you to resolve all your problems. Because if you there's no guarantee, depending on the size of your venue, that A, you're going to face that person, and B, that person is going to play what they said they were going to play ahead of time. Okay? Now, again, if you get in private conversations with people about teams and they ask your thoughts and they tell you what they're building, don't try to do hard counters. And if people ask you, so, Con in your store's coming up, what are you thinking about running? Just answer, I don't know. Just, I don't know. Now, if you're on a lab day where you don't care, yeah, tell everybody what you're playing. Don't care. And here's why. What's your main goal of a lab day, people? To learn. What's the best way to learn sometimes? Have a tough road. See just, how good stuff is when people think they know what you're doing and how to counter it. Okay. So that's just something to think about. And I know a lot of times we get into this magical world of information and it's like, oh, what do I do? What do I not do? And the ethics of it seem a little bit shady. And trust me, it becomes tough. I have degrees in ethics and morality. So it's a little bit easy for me to say like, oh yeah, that's it. You just walk this line here. It's a very thin line, very fine line. And it provides a lot of dynamic tension, but it creates, the the best moral outcome. The one thing that you have to realize is this. In our culture, primarily Western culture, and I can say American culture, the idea of ethics also coinciding with convenience is a commonality. And when you make convenience and ethics synonyms, you sort of defeat the purpose of morality and ethics. Ethics is what takes you out of the survival of the fittest mode, which in and of itself, again, I've stated before, I'm not naturalistic, is very destructive. It's very destructive and actually points a group of people towards extinction. It just does. Because if you say, I'm the fittest and I'm going to slaughter you all the time, no matter what I feel, you're in my way. What happens is that A, you don't get allies because to prove dominance, you slaughter them or you have them subservient to you. And B, eventually there's only so much space, land, whatever for you to take before your system implodes on itself. Nationalism breaks down to tribalism. Tribalism breaks down to hyper-individualism. And then the whole system collapses and then resets. If you're lucky enough to reset. That's why what I'm trying to promote to you is something that we had back in science, for a while, but we sort of forgot about it, is the idea of homeostasis, or even more so of a ecological mindset when you deal with your venue. It's okay to have alpha predators in a venue. It's okay to have people that are preyed on in a venue. You have to make sure that it is synergistic and that it's symbiotic. Okay? Oh, we eat the weak out of the herd. Okay. But we're not taking, all the resources in the land because the herd has to populate for us to hunt. Okay? Versus I'm number one and I stomp and crap on everybody else that doesn't recognize that. Because eventually when the tectonic plates shift and the continent land bridge merges and that other venue that was, across town dies and all their inhabitants flock to your new continent, guess what? There might be some very dangerous things coming over and you might not be the apex predator anymore. And you won't get any help from your ecosystem. So sort of keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. All right. Let's go into how to bring melee back. And I think a lot of people right now haven't thought about melee in a serious function. And one of the main reasons people haven't thought about melee in in a serious function is primarily people are lazy and the range game is ridiculous. Okay, once you add in the sniper rifle, yeah, the range game is ridiculously dumb. Okay, so you might be saying, well, hey, Dark Logos, if the sniper rifle makes everything a range game, why am I looking at a melee game at all? Well, here's why, my friends. Because a melee game will enable you to surprise your opponent. At this stage, there's very few people that actually play a serious melee game. So even getting the finesse of that down will put you leaps and heads above everybody else that you're dealing with. And most importantly, if you get into a good melee game in placement, it makes your range game so much better. It just does. So let's sort of get into some things and break down, like, okay, why are we looking at this and why are we looking at that and why are we not looking at this and why we're not looking at that? Okay. So one of the first things that we want to probably think about with a melee game is the following. Indigo Lantern, full emotional spectrum. Okay. All right, and I'm going to touch on all this. That's the first. Let's come back. Let's say in no particular order. Okay. Let's look at resources. Resources, not TAs. And we're looking at resources, first one is Indigo Lantern, second one is Orange Lantern. Okay, those are the two that when we come to resources, like, yeah, this is what you need for melee. Okay. Now, some of you might be saying that's sort of strange, but you'll see it here in a moment. Next up, we're looking at Barrier, Smoke Cloud, Stealth as our powers. Those are our main powers. You might say, like, what about Charge and Hypersonic Speed? Not important right now. Okay? Not important. And if you can sort of see where I'm going, I'm focusing on us getting downfield without getting shot. Okay, that's more important. Get downfield without getting shot. All right. Next up in team abilities is Hand, Legion, League of Assassins, not Legion, League of Assassins. Those right there are probably like your two main staples for doing a really good melee game. I think also, I thought there was one that was really good with the Wrecking Crew, but I may be wrong. Plus, AC Realms is real slow for me today. So, anyway. But, yeah. Now, you might be saying, like, hey, man, Dark Logos, what's up with all this? Why are we looking at, the Indigo Lantern and the Orange Lantern? Well, real simply, the Indigo Lantern is there so that, hey, if you're not within 4 squares of an Indigo Lantern person, you can't target me. You can't draw a line of fire to me. Unless you have Bill, you can't target me. Okay, that's just the pure, simple truth. Okay, so I can move downfield with pretty good amount of safety as long as, they're not sacrificing pogs to get within 4 squares of my guys. Okay, now, if we look at this, what does my opponent have to do to get their shot off? For them to get their shot off, they have to, eat an action. Okay? It's not even a, hey, I do an action, now you have to pay an action in kind to negate my action. It's no, I paid for the ability for you not to target me with just being in a permanent effect. Not target me, draw a line of fire to me, sorry. I keep saying target it, but it's very specific. For you not to be able to draw a line of fire to me, and so you're going to have to spend actions to negate that effect. Okay? So, that's your first sort of like kick them in the pants element. The second is that you're able to access that cool power called Barrier through the construct. It's only 2 squares, but it's enough to limit line of fire to make it real annoying for your opponent as you move downfield. And it being a free action, again, your opponent has to spend a power action to deal with your free action. You can sort of see how this is going. Okay. Now, the other thing with the Indigo Lantern beyond the emotional spectrum is the, hey, guess what, guy? You did damage to me? Because you finally were able to see me. This other guy within 6 squares is able to teleport down onto my other guy and heal them of 1. You did 3 damage or more. I heal it. Boom. You only dealt 2 to this guy. Now he's boss and prime. I'm right there on top of you. Now, a lot of people don't realize that this is a telegank. A lot of people don't realize that you can use the Indigo Lantern as a telegank. And whoever your opponent hits first, shoots first, whatever first, is actually keying off to get your melee guy behind the 4 layers of walls that he's at, right into position, because he has to be adjacent. Because he says the character has to be within 6 squares, but your placement doesn't have to be within 6 squares. Your character placement can be within 8 squares because it has to surround that character. That's see, this is how we roll. Okay, and then boom, this isn't even a free action. This just happens. Okay, And then boom, you heal, don't even roll. And then it's like, well, homie, you know what? I don't have any action tokens on my melee guy. And so when it's my turn, instead of spending, spending, my actions, moving into place, now I'm in place. Now I'm going to have Juggernaut charge down on you with Charge Flurry and kill you. Oh, yeah, and I got an Ultra Heavy. You're dead. Okay, so a lot of people aren't really thinking like, oh my gosh, Indigo Lantern, I better play that. Most people are like, oh, Indigo Lantern, I didn't like that group anyway. Give me the Blue Lanterns and the Green Lanterns and the Yellow Lanterns. And it's like, okay, whatever. All of those have their purposes, and I've talked about that previously. But really, as we're dealing with right now, it's just, bring melee back. Okay, so you might be saying, hey, Dark Logos, what's up with the Orange Lantern, homie? Like, that doesn't make sense. Well, let's see. What did I say that we needed before for powers? Barrier. What does the Orange Lantern Ring give us? Barrier. What else does the Orange Lantern Ring give us? Plasticity. You don't want that guy getting away? Yep, that's awesome. What power do you wish you had on your melee guys when they start to run away? Plasticity. What do you wish that your melee guys have when they have plasticity? Charge. You see where I'm going? They're like, the Orange Lantern just yells, hey, play me, so that you can just screw over, a bunch of people with melee guys. Now, here's where the Orange Lantern gets boss. Is that, remember when I said previously, like, hey, these powers, you're able to just negate a power. Your opponent can't do anything about it. Doesn't matter if they have power cosmic or whatever. That's why you always have a guy with running shot and hypersonic speed on your team when you play the Orange Lantern. Heck, your melee guy can be hypersonic speed starting off. That's cool. And you're going to say, well, Dark Logos, they can shoot me. It's going to be a lot harder to shoot you without running shot. It's going to be a lot harder to shoot you while you're placing that free wall up. It's going to be a lot harder to shoot you when you're putting up barrier putting up more barrier, because your ring gives all your Pog guys barrier when they have a construct. It's going to be really, really, really hard for them to shoot you if you have stealth and hypersonic speed. It's, and you're able to put down, smoke cloud tokens with the net. I mean, you start to see where I'm going. Like, you could just say, like, hey, guess what? You have running shot? And then, no, I'm taking that away. Power action. Boom. You can't do that. Period. Oh, you have impervious and I'm right up on top of you? Guess what? I got impervious. You can't use that. Eat this ultra heavy, son, and like it. Okay. So now you get to just crap on your opponent's day because, oh, they have parallax entity on somebody and it's giving them impervious. Oh, I got impervious. You can't use it. You don't have access to it. It's mine, fool. Now, again, it requires you to know what your game plan is and to pack what you're weak against. But given enough points, you can just be like, I'm weak against running shot. Screw that. You don't have it. Just pure and simple. Okay, so there's that. So just something to think about. Something to think about. And so let's move on to powers to an extent, because I already talked about barrier. Barrier is self-explanatory. It's like, boom, block line of fire, make it hard for you to get to me and shoot me and see me, and I can do what I need to do. Do. Okay. The next thing that we're looking at is like smoke cloud and stealth. That's a little bit, self-explanatory. But the main thing with smoke cloud is, if I put a smoke cloud underneath your butt, that's -1 attack plus impaired movement unless you fly or have improved movement, ignores, hindering, or whatever. Okay, so it creates a situation and where your opponent now is harder for them to reposition that figure that's your key target. Okay. So that's what you have to keep in mind, that your key target is harder for them to get away. All right. The next major thing that we're looking at with the powers and stealth is that we just don't want our powers taken. So it's like, hey, I don't want you outwitting me. I'm tired of this. So there are different advantages with that. All right, so those core powers allow us to bring melee back and to creep it, up into our opponent's face. And you're going to say, well, Dark Logos, what about the charge and flurry? You're already going to be thinking about the charge and flurry, and your opponent is going to be thinking about charge and flurry. Think about something else. Let's think about something else. And thinking about something else, we can finally, make some developments, because what's going on? Everyone's thinking the same darn thing. Okay? You're going to be like, Dark Logos, what about taxis? What about teleportation? What about, bamfing the guy across the map using such and such special power? Forget that. Go back to basics. Because once we have a basic foundation, then we can be like, aha, next level jazz. And I'll get to that in a moment. Okay. So once we see those core powers, we can go into the team abilities, and League of Assassins is the key one in hand. The main reason that you're looking at these two in particular is that they just block line of fire for you being adjacent to a wall or whatever. And trust me, a lot of people, the moment that you tell them, I'm running Hand ATA or League of Assassins ATA, they will want to punch you. They won't, but they will want to. And the main reason is that most people, and I'm being real honest, have not thought out the reality of, well, what if they have melee? Or what if they have stealth? Because most of the time people are like, oh, I'm just going to shoot them harder. And that's dumb. It just is. So with League, League, I keep saying League. I want to say Legion. But with League of Assassins, you're putting yourself at a very distinct advantage against the average player, because they're not knowing what to do, and they don't know really like how to handle it. Because ask yourself, how many times has someone played the Hand TA, ATA, or the League ATA in the last 5 months? Just 5 months. Now you can say, but hey, Dark Logos, I've been facing Gen Con clones and people playing your team. Like, okay, you are one of the hand few, okay, but everybody else that is, in some other more casual, realistic land are not definitely playing my Gen Con team, okay, or anything similar to it. Okay, so you drop that Hand ATA on somebody and they'll want to give you a hand, specifically a finger, but we're not going to go into that. Now, what does this do? It forces your opponent to move slowly. And you can move very quickly, because what we're doing, we're thinking on our opponent's turn as best as we can. We can't plan for everything. We can see where we want to take the battle, and we need to have sort of 3 phases in our mind. If the battle's going great, the battle's going as expected, or the battle is going to crapola. We need to have an understanding of what our plans are. We need to have that ahead of time. When we made our team, when we picked our map, we need to know where our retreat areas are so that we are safe. Okay? That's just how it is. Okay. So, let's sort of compound all this together. All right. So, let's say I have Teen Titans Batman. Probably one of the most underused yet most powerful figures in the game. Okay, what does he have? He has stealth. He can play a range game, but primarily he's a melee guy. He does a lot good in melee. And what does he do? He has an aura effect that says everybody, within 6 squares, guess what? You can't use willpower or ignore pushing damage or anything like that. Then bam, automatically we have an advantage, because we're able to, be in stealth, force our opponents into a melee interaction, which if they're running nothing but running shot and all the other jazz, and they don't have anti-stealth, guess what? They're screwed. They have to come up in base Batman. You know what that means? More turns to smack people with batarangs. Okay? After that, you know what? They can't push without taking pushing damage. And so we can start to see how these effects start to stack. So you can say, like, well, Dark Logos, that's a very interesting proposition. You know, what else could I do? Well, let's go back to the aura effects. I mean, we can look at any of the devastating aura effect characters, such as Professor X, such as Science Police officers. You know, we can look at those guys and be like, hey, I know you want to come smack my melee guy, but if you do, you're going to be under this effect. So you find Melee Guy 1, Professor X 2, and then, you know, your Indigo Lantern, and just be like, yeah, you just realize you come into this area. You have to have somebody within 4 squares to shoot me. The moment you do that power action, it becomes a double power action. Just understand that. And even if you do, you know, damage to my big guy, I'm going to have Professor X teleport up, giving Professor X more free movement, and then knock 1 damage off of that. What's up, homie? What's up, homie? And we're rolling down with the net end with the wall. You know, because we have the constructs from the Conninger store. So now, when we look at that, it creates some problems, because smacking the melee guy, who technically is the most dangerous, does not seem as viable once you start to understand that, oh crap, I just teleported Professor X up 6 squares, and now my entire team is under this effect. I haven't done major damage to this melee guy. Professor X is primed for mind control. Okay, and the melee guy is just going to run up there and do his jazz, and he's going to have his, you know, willpower the entire time, and not taking 2 actions, and taking 2 tokens. And for me to do any power action whatsoever, I'm going to have to take, you know, two tokens. It's going to be a double power action, and I really can't afford that. And he's just going to get tempo over me. This isn't fun. Boom. Yeah, it's not fun. Welcome to the new age. To the new age. Welcome to the new age. The new age. No. So you can start to see, like, when we're compounding these effects, that all of a sudden it's like, oh wow, Dark Logos, I didn't think about that. Like, I could bring melee back, and these fools wouldn't know what's coming. Yeah. And here's the thing, and I'll give a shout out to Goku. I played him in the Conninger store. He put the sniper rifle on Gamora, and I looked at Gamora's effects, and Gamora's effects really benefit her, and she's really designed to be a low cost, high risk, one in there, you know, kill that one figure and die piece. Hopefully you kill something of more points than you. But when you start put a sniper rifle on that chick, yeah, she becomes broken. She becomes very imbalanced. Okay, definitely when you could, you know, hypersonic speed at put full 10 range, that's the gosh. I don't. Anyway, so let's sort of come back around. I'm going to give you some figures to look at, just for you to start, you know, having some things go through your head about, you know, the future of Melee. And now note, this isn't the definitive list. The definitive list. Like, everyone thinks, like, oh, Dark Logo said this. This must be the list. The one list to rule them all. No, it's not, trust me. It's not. It's just a couple of good figures right now that I feel that would help you into this whole melee jazz that we're talking about. Okay. One of the first few figures that I like, but it gives you a introductory to a melee game while being really abusive. It's the training wheels is Speed Demon and Wizard, mainly Wizard, because you're able to augment some things with him to make him awesome. It's anyway, but the main thing is that Wizard just comes out and be like hypersonic speed flurry, and he's super happy, and he's glad to be here. Okay, and you can add in some elements onto Wizard that allows him to be a little bit more survivable than he was before. Mainly that barrier, free action barrier, or the decoy, or several other elements, the net, if you really want to go there. So, Wizard is the first one. Speed Demon is the other one, because Speed Demon has the ability to want to come in, do some stuff, get around you a couple times, and then come out. Okay? And he wants to be out by the time everything is resolved. Okay? So that's just another figure to think about. And again, hypersonic speed is sort of like, beginning lazy mode. You're testing it out. You're getting comfortable with melee placement, but it's still not fully melee placement. It's sort of like, I'm doing Orange Lantern tech with this today. Like, I don't want you to have hypersonic speed if you have it, because I can do what I need to do. I don't want you to do what you do. Okay. So, let's sort of look at some other interesting ones that are worthwhile, like Karnak and Gorgon, both the fast forces and the standard versions. They're really good. They're straight up charge pieces, and they're going to provide you with decent damage. But they also can get picked apart really easily. Like Gorgon from the standard set, he has a 10 attack and he has Battle Fury. Okay, so there's no friendly mind control going on here. And then Karnak, he's a 17 defense, super senses, but he only has one click of 11 attack. And so your biggest damage output is, up front with him. So anyway, the one thing is, Karnak's little trait where he always is, damage dealt by Karnak is penetrating damage, sort of is dumb, considering that, to an extent he has precision strike, and his precision strike is, I'm betting, not lowered in cost for that guaranteed 1 damage, but it's just mainly like, nope, I can hit your super senses. If you want to really put the training weights on, play Angela. Just play Angela. And her trait is, when an opposing character targets Angela after action resolve, you may place a prey token on that character's card. Give Angela a power action be placed adjacent to an opposing character with a prey token on its card. Then make a close combat attack as a free action targeting that character. Now note, does this work really, really well with the Indigo Lantern? Possibly not, because if you want your prey tokens, quote unquote, to go off, then you sort of want to be targeted. Now, please understand, targeted does not mean attacked, and targeted does not mean that damage has been dealt. Targeted can happen with Outwit. Targeted can happen with Perplex. Targeted can happen with Prob. Targeted can happen with a whole number of little weird special powers. Okay? So do understand that this is probably the first character that allows you to stack up tokens just for your opponents doing standard stuff. Okay. Now, also, if your opponent's power battery targets, because it has a character card, targets Angela, you would probably have a chance to go in there and like teleport to the other side of the map if you wanted to, if that reaches that long, and be like, boop, finished off your power battery because you pushed it too hard and it had a 20 range and targeted the wrong person. Okay, Corvus Glaive. I keep thinking, I'm like, he's cool. He's just cool. Um, yeah, he's just primarily cool. His late dial is stupid, silly. But I mean, other than that, he's just pretty cool. Boom, 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 boom. Avalanche from Days of Futures Past. He's a really good melee guy. Wolverine, the number 13 one, the one without the background. I saw him at first when he came out, and everyone was playing him, and then he just sort of poof disappeared. I think, yeah, War of Light entities, everybody else got their brains focused on other stuff, but to be able to come back and say charge, flurry, blades, and you just be like charge, flurry, I have 3 damage, and empower. So that ain't no thing, and I'm indomitable. And then I can use regeneration when I have 2 action tokens. I can use regeneration as a free action. So I perma regen. I just perma regen, fools. You didn't know? You better You better ask somebody. Now, the one cool thing with this Wolverine is that if you do play with the Star Sapphires, no one's going to like you. You play with the Star Sapphire battery, no one is going to like you. No one. No one's going to be your friend after that. Because it's like shape change, mystics damage, roll to heal. Shape change, mystics damage, roll to heal. Shape change, mystics damage, roll to heal. You can start. Oh, I have 2 tokens, roll to heal. You just pretty much roll to heal the entire time. Yep. So anyway, keep going. I like Dogpool. Because Dogpool will make you sort of think of like a 1-2 combo. So like Dogpool and Wolverine can surprise people because it's like, oh, Wolverine comes in with a charge. Then Dogpool comes in with a charge. Or Dogpool is carried by Wolverine. And, next turn Dogpool hits for 3 damage. Oh, okay. Wait, hold up. He has a 2 damage. Where is he getting 3? Empower. Oh, I didn't see that coming. Yeah, and Dogpool is tiny. A lot of people don't know that. And then also you can put all that, Merc with the mouth crap on him to make him do other things. So, Dogpool can have hammer time. And all that. So there's cool jazz there. Colleen Wing, Misty Knight. Colleen Wing and Misty Knight are both pretty decent. I think, yeah. Colleen Wing mainly. 55 points of freaking just slap that chick. Like she's too good. Like, and again, 55-point investment. What's going to happen? What is your opponent thinking? Oh, I'm just going to go wax that figure real quick. Well, if you can't target me, or I just say you don't have running shot, oh, there's a problem. Oh, I also have access to the hand ATA, so if I'm on a theme team, you can't target me from range anyway, so I could play like the Orange Lantern battery and just, oh yeah, take away your willpower, take away your precision strike. Oh yeah, oh hey, wait, what? Wait, what? So all of a sudden you're saying that Colleen Wing could possibly be a very strong meta piece? Yes, that's what I'm saying, homie. That's what I am saying. Okay. Another one, and this is like on the high end, is what was? Gosh, I had his name in the back of my head. Man Thing. The Man Thing has that awesome poison. What does he need? He definitely needs some way to protect him as he approaches and stop getting shot. But once he's in there, it's like boom, done. I'm good to go. Wolverine and X-23. That piece is ridiculous. I've fought that before. It can murder a team. It just sits back and be like, yeah, get in position. Oh, I'm in position. Now I'm going to double Berserker Barrage you. Oh yeah, take some tokens off. Oh, split into Wolverine and X-23. Oh yeah. Yeah, okay, cool. Yep, GG. So Yeah, there's something to look at there. Wolverine, Agent of Hydra, wasn't a fan originally, became a fan. Again, access to that hand ATA. A lot of people sleep on that. A lot of people sleep on that. There is this one is more a little bit unique. Is the Steve Rogers from the Captain America and Winter Soldier, and he has stealth, precision strike, and toughness. But then he gets outwit and shape change. So at 65 points starting off, you can maneuver him slowly up. Is he Batman level? Awesome. No, but a 6 range outwit is pretty cool. And then you can create a situation where as you start controlling midfield and you take out that figure with anti-stealth first, your opponent is forced into a melee fight, and you're just like, well, cool. Hey, I have Indigo Lantern, so I'm moving up this way. I have access to Smoke Cloud, so I'm stealth underneath here. It's like, oh, I have barrier. You just can't draw a line of fire to me, but I outwitted you before I put my barrier up. So there's some fun stuff with him that you definitely have to check out. I think also like Batrock. Yeah, Batrock, 85 points, charge, flurry, 10 attack, 17 defense, super senses, exploit weakness. So he's really good. That's number 4, Batrock. And just to prove that I'm not like, Marvel addicted, let's just scroll down and find some cool melee people from DC. All right. So I know some people might say like, oh, it's hard to get. Well, the question from the Trinity of Sin. But you should be able to get one from Khan in your store. So he's one of the easiest characters to get into that charge, flurry, silliness from the jump. He also has access to stealth. So you can just be like, boop, stealth, bloop, done, bloop, can't see me. Oh, you want to get away? Plasticity, can't go anywhere. Thank you. Have a good day. Stay right there. Oh, I got shape change. I need shape change. I got it. So he's one of those figures that can be very, very interesting when used properly. Another one that is going to be really good is the Wonder Woman from the Justice League strategy game. I like the rookie level. The vet's not bad either. I also like the Teen Titans Wonder Woman. She is really good. A lot of people just don't play her. Also, the other good Wonder Woman is the DC 10th Wonder Woman. I haven't seen anyone play that one. Excellent Wonder Woman. Really strong stats, just great overall. Now, Coral Seal is, I think Coral Seal has, Coral, is that her name? Coral Seal, yeah, she has range, but that pack that she has is stupid. And here's the thing, people. If you play the pack with the lantern battery and then put stuff onto the pack, it would still apply. Just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. Hanu, you really do want Hanu with the Indigo Lantern. And I know Hanu can get range and whatnot, but you really do want Hanu with the Indigo Lantern. Because you want him the entire time just freaking your opponent out of how they're going to address him. You don't even need to be like, nope, don't need range. I'm going to use Hanu as a shock trooper. I know I haven't used that phrase for a long time. It's been a couple of years. But main goal of a shock trooper is to make your opponent think that this character is going to wreck them, even though that character is going to do absolutely very little the entire game. The main goal is to intimidate your opponent so that other elements of your team can do what they're doing. Okay? While Hanu might be able to lay down the thunder, if you got like a whole bunch of just little dudes just shooting the fire out of everybody in the back, what are they focused on? What's directly in front of them? Just like with League of Legends. No one looks at the ADC when the tank and the top lane secondary tank is in the middle there, just butchering everyone. Everyone's like, oh, kill the guy with the most amount of health and the highest defense and the most damage reduction, instead of the one doing the crazy damage with little health and little damage reduction. Yeah, it makes sense. Makes perfect sense. Okay. So definitely, check that out. I know another one was like Zilius Zox and Gallius Zed. Both of those guys are ridiculous, but they require you to have finesse. But from everything that I've said right now, it's like, hey, maybe I don't need some of the crazy finesse. Maybe I need to have, just that indigo lantern. Maybe I need to start looking at, using barrier a little bit better. Hey, that might actually be a great idea. Okay, so let's just not stay in War of Light. Let's sort of move on. War of Light, your list is way too long. Let's look at a couple that had our attention earlier this year. Let's look at Cheetah Prime. The Cheetah Prime is great because she has an improved movement, ignores hindering terrain, ignores characters, so she can always get to where she needs to go. She has Leap Climb. And then when Cheetah resolves a move action, you may give her a close combat action as a free action. So she has pretty much like a full move charge. All right. And she has a lot of survivability. Okay. So there you go. Another great figure that is to be combined with the ultralight, just to chuck it at somebody, is Amethyst. Amethyst. Yeah, you forgot about her. Yep, that gym world. Once per game, when Amethyst hits an opposing character, you may choose that neither character may make a ranged combat attack, and she, in that character, may only target each other with close combat attacks until one of them is KO'd. Yep, think about that. Just take a moment, breathe, think about it. Ask yourself this. If all of a sudden you are faced in a situation where someone has Bill, Agent of AIM, and Amethyst, are you going to be concerned? Hope you are. I hope you are. All right. Next up, Phantom Girl really is sort of cheating too. She is melee. She's melee, but she's technically sort of hypersonic speed. Okay. So there's something to be said there. At the other end of the spectrum, she does have a lot of intro lessons that you can get from Phantom Girl. Okay. Just is. Placement, getting in there. Not being so much afraid of your opponent shooting you as knowing that, okay, if my opponent does do something, I do have limited options. Feel free to use Welcome to the Legion jank to get that hand ATA or Legion ATA using a entity and tell them Dark Logos sent you. Cheers. So definitely, you can try that as well. All right. And I could say that Solomon Grundy, that super rare Solomon Grundy is sick. You can build a map. I mean, you could build a situation for him where he doesn't die. And let's talk about bringing melee back in a different way. Okay, Solomon Grundy, if you're able to pick map and you were able to play a lantern, just play Star Sapphire and then put the nurse on him. That's all you do. That's all you do. He will not die. He will not die. And yes, I'm going to say it. I am that guy that would do that. Dark Logos is not fun for anyone. How can you do that? Don't care. I am that guy. Dark Logos, you have proven that you have great skill in the force of heroclix. Why would you yield to the dark side and play that? Because looking at someone's face, when you play, Solomon Grundy and a bunch of other guys, and they don't know what's going on, and you win map and you put him on Sunken Wakanda or something like that, And then all of a sudden, your opponent just realized they now have to deal with Solomon Grundy, with Mystic's Shape Change and Regen. And they have no way to stop that because they didn't pack Pulse Wave. Yeah. Yeah. It's they're not going to have a good day. Lydia Malor, she's just way too good. She's just way too good. And truthfully, I'm going to tell you this as your podcaster friend. If you have her, play her for like the next 3 months for all your constructed. Why is that? Everyone is playing lanterns. Everyone. Just hose them really bad. So they won't be able to get emotional spectrum. They won't be able to get the benefit of the ring, and they could just be able to assign constructs. Whoop-de-dicky-doo. There you go. Just play her on monster theme teams and just be like, well, it's fun. I got a monster theme team. Ha-ha. And when the real purpose of it is for you to hose them over. It's just like, should have thought about her. Now, note, Jake, don't be playing a bunch of Lydia Malors there, okay? Don't do that. Anyway, let me scroll down and give you something a little bit more interesting. Yeah, that's cheating. Osiris, my friend, it's been a long time. Osiris, one of the main reasons Osiris is great is that Osiris has charge and super strength. He's over 100 points, so he can use ultra heavies. And he has prob, and he also has the ability to use can't be targeted by incapacitated mind control, which is great for control. The call down lightning has its advantages and disadvantages, but you can have some good times with it. So definitely something to think about. Where's Lobo? I think it was Lobo as well, not Slowbo. There was Lobo. No, he's not in the set. Never mind. I know there was one Lobo that I was thinking about in the back of my head while doing this, but I can't remember right now. If you, I don't even want to bring that the Gotham City strategy game. I don't really like that one. The Killer Croc from that, he's deep, and that has its own advantages, but the damage spikes nowadays are just too high. But he does have a cool thing that says opposing characters within 4 squares can't use willpower. So he has a mini aura effect. Remember what I was saying about stacking effects? You're like, oh, you can't target me. Oh, but if you can target me, you're going to get hit with this aura effect. So yeah, there's some interesting stuff there. If you want to go crazy with it, you can go to EMP from Streets of Gotham, and just look at people and be like, ha ha ha, guess what? It's going to be really hard for you to kill me. Then let's see. I think that's mainly it. I mean, you can sort of say, ooh, Black Bat, Night Runner, but they're really not as good as they were. That Nightwing is still boss, though. I will say that. So, I gave you like just a list, and no, I'm not going to type it up because I want you to listen to this over and over and over again. You can bring melee back. It is tough. Okay, it is going to be, I'll kid you not, for that first month that you're trying, it's going to be really, really hard just because you're not used to it if you've been playing that run and gun game, and then you're going to be trying to figure out like, well, how do I put the shenanigans in, or how do I put the defense in, and I don't have enough points for all these powers, and you'll start making your own personal list of priorities, based on, hey, I don't need a bunch of smoke cloud because I have, ranks. And so I'm going to, do this and this on ranks, or it's 1,000-point game. So Orange Lantern will serve me a lot more, and I'll do this, this, and this. And ha ha ha, my opponent can't running shot. So now I can place, or, oh, it's a 500-point game. I'm going to use Indigo Lantern, and I'm going to use, some stealth elements, and then I'm going to make my opponent sort of, come into me and be able to try to do things. And, there's tons of, balancing, counterbalancing. Don't do something like, I'm going to run League of Assassins ATA and I'm going to run Indigo Lantern. Don't do something like that, because all you're going to do is just create a situation where you're stacking the same effect multiple times. So just think about, where you want to go from, where you're at into the realm of melee. All right. Anyway, just a big quick thing, since I did mention my friend Jake. We are having that charity event thing at Game Cafe, in which there's going to be heroclix prizes given away. And so if you buy raffle tickets, we will mail prizes to you, and I will have the link to that event in the comments. Oh, not in the comments, in the description of the show. So definitely look out for that. Anyway, you can follow me on Twitter. It came from outer space and told me when you punch a fool in his mouth, you got to say Sweet Christmas. You can check out all my silliness, random musings on my Twitter. Sometimes I talk about salsa, dancing. Sometimes I talk about heroclix. And sometimes I talk about random stuff. But yeah, that definitely check that out. You're going to know when a show goes up. It's going to get notified on Twitter. Then you can email me at starringoverpodcast@gmail.com. That's starringoverpodcast@gmail.com. If you wish to opine, keep it piffy, keep it interesting, keep it awesome, baby. Do you have more interesting questions to ask Dark Logos? When it may turn into a show, hit me up there. Definitely hit me up. Also, War of Light's winding down. Are you starting to feel the weight of buying all that product? Just wondering. And last but not least, you can follow me on the blog, starringoverpodcast.blogspot.com. You can donate to me on the blog if you want my services to be your personal heroclix trainer, or pay for time for me to be someone's personal heroclix trainer. It's $15 an hour, low introductory price, and I will help you build your team from start to finish, or coach you on whatever mechanics that you want to work on. All right, that is it. Thank you for listening. And remember, we all have to eat pizza sometime. Oh, wait, that's not right.